that less than 75% of all corporate strategic plans are ever fully executed? Did you know that 90% of employees in an organization are not aware of the company's strategic plan? Did you also know that the number one way to engage employees is to align them with the company's strategic plan? My name is Dr. Mario Wallace, the CEO and founder of All Things Strategic. I've coached more than 200 executive leaders on strategy management. I've facilitated more than 500 strategic thinking and strategy management workshops. I've developed and executed more than 80 corporate strategic plans using the balanced scorecard methodology and other models in the field of healthcare, higher education, private practice, small business, and manufacturing. Let's be honest. Everyone is truly looking for a solution to adapt to industry changes and to adjust to their market. What I find curious is that some leaders and some companies have settled for short-term fixes instead of long-term solutions. What I can do in my 8-week activity-based program is teach you how to understand the full cycle of strategy management. I will teach you how to study the fringes of society, understanding those technologies and those disruptors in society, and pull them into your company to leverage your company's competitive advantage. I will teach you how to use multiple strategy management frameworks such as the balanced scorecard, red ocean, blue ocean, platform strategies, and the Atom strategy management model. I will teach you how to execute a plan by identifying strategic risk within the plan and finding ways to mitigate those risks. Align a strategic plan across your organization to your employees, to your communication plan, to your stakeholders, to the executives and board members. Lastly, the most critical part of strategic planning is to leverage how do we manage a strategic plan. I will teach you how to understand those nuances of managing a strategic plan where everybody is learning from the plan and pulling together to provide a better outcome for the organization. At All Things Strategic, we know strategy.
Hello, everyone. You probably was wondering what is going on, Lizy. Hello, for you that have just tuned in. I am Lizy, your host. I'm the host and one of the producers of the Lizy T Show. We are back with part 2. Some of you watched our video last week with Dr. Wallace, and today we're going to continue our conversation with part 2 with a lot more interesting things for us to share, for you to get to know Dr. Wallace, and a part 2 of neurograms. And this is going to be an interesting. I'm going to give you again a little bit of an overview for you to have an idea who we're dealing with. Dr. Mary Wallace, after graduating from his doctor's business administration strategy, he was led to a strategic planet. You guys saw the video. It would include 25 businesses and 17,000 staff and employees. Not exactly what he was expecting as a new career, but he took a challenge. He learned the process and perfect strategy management. Today, he created more than 65 plans for companies in higher education, healthcare, and medicine and private sector. So we're going to be talking about an incredible part we talked about last week, and we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Wallace. Probably you're wondering, what is neurofit and what is neurograms and what does this all entail? How can it benefit? How can you get involved? How your company? How does this work? So without further ado, let's bring him to the Hello, welcome back. We had an interesting conversation last week, and I'm so happy and honored that you're back to give us a little bit more explanation and talk about this incredible system that you're using. We touched a little bit more, but we're gonna dive a little bit more in depth today. So take it on.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be back on your show. I know it's kind of light behind me, but
This is where I found the best place to sit today and have this conversation. But today, yeah, we're going to get more into neurofit, neurofeedback, biofeedback, and how that relates to uh, truly increased performance in leaders, professionals, as well as other demographics that can use the technology.
Now, when you say in neurofeedback, neuro, okay, so we're talking about the brain for everybody not to um, get confused. It's all the same, but there are differences. And so I would like for you to explain to the audience, how did you come across to this and how did you get involved, and what do you love about this product, or this method rather?
So neurofeedback, it directly targets the brain. Um, Given that the brain has over 5 billion neurons, neurofeedback, the actual application of using what we call the sense band technology, actually records brainwave data from people to allow coaches like myself who have a neurofit certification to be able to interpret the data and to identify areas of opportunity, right? We can actually look at brainwave data, brainwave frequencies, and identify where anxiety lives based on the situation that a person is in, uh, identify opportunities to mitigate stress as it relates to the workplace, and also to increase what we call extreme attention, or the term that most leaders use is flow, or getting into the zone. So maybe 2 years ago, I got into the concept of neuroscience to understand what is it about the human brain that makes certain leaders um, more competitive than others. And in my study and my research, I ran across this technology called the sense band technology. It's produced by a company called Neuro um, in Singapore. Um, when I ran across this technology, I did more, I wanted to look behind the hood to learn more about the concept of how this technology works, because for the past 60 years, in America, Canada, and in other countries, we've used in the hospitals a hospital grade technology called electroencephalogram, or EEG. And what that is if you've seen people with these caps and these electrodes on their head, what it is uh, EEG technicians and physicians, neuroscience physicians, work with people who have certain cognitive disabilities such as ADHD, ADD, depression, seizures, and things like that. And they put these electrodes on their heads to determine which parts of the actual human brain that is seizing, that's causing that disruption. What happened is we've taken that concept and we've commercialized it to a tool called the sense band, in which now we can use that same high performing technology, use it as a coaching medium for people such as professionals or school age kids or seniors who's dealing with cognitive decline. We can use this same technology from a commercial grade perspective to help to mitigate anxiety, stresses, to increase performance as it relates to people in the workforce, school age kids, as well as seniors.
Wow. So this is not right now, and obviously you're going to correct me. This is not a cure. This is just to help to it's a way of not letting the disease progress, or not letting the depression, or the anxiety, or the dementia, Alzheimer, whatever it is with that senior, progress. It's just in order to target, or to say, yes, there's a problem, uh, and this is an aid. Is that what we're talking about?
So when it comes to seniors, it's an aid. Okay.
Okay.
It's an aid. Basically, we've taken the technology through clinical trials. We've actually did clinical trials on 180 seniors, pre
Oh,
and
wow.
post. We did fMRI study, right? Brain scans to understand blood flow and blood oxidation and dormant areas in the brain. That's a pre. Then we took them through the sense band program for 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, we have them to go back to their neuro scientists or physicians to do a post fMRI study, and what they saw was a increase in blood flow oxidation across the brain, where it shows that this coaching, this training can actually reduce cognitive decline in elders.
Wow. That is amazing. So you got involved, you're involved, you're using this method. And for you that are watching right now, you're probably seeing some couple of CAT scans of brain right over here. And you wonder, how is this used? Well, you will be seeing, you can see here on the website, it's been used in schools. And this is the apparatus that is used in the child. Like, this is children, because it's been used in the school. Um, Again, is this to recognize that the child, the senior, is having a problem, and it is used as an aid, not necessarily a cure, but you're able to target what the condition is, correct?
Yes. So there's three different groups. There's school age children who can use the sense band technology and what you see on the
Right.
screen. There are professionals, leaders in organizations who are trying to increase performance. And then there are seniors who are trying to reduce cognitive decline. As it relates to the school age child, what we're trying to do is increase attention, decision making, focus, organizational skills,
Mm-hmm.
cognitive flexibility, multitasking. So we can actually put the sense band on, and it actually comes with an application, multiple applications. But let's talk about this one, like memory. Memory is an application that looks at 5 different cognitive functions of a child, right? And this is not a child who probably struggles with ADHD or ADD. Just a child, and the parents want to increase their cognitive performance as it relates to decision making, memory, and attention. Well, they can put on the sense band, open up the application on their own tablet or iPhone, or any type of technology, iPhone type device, smartphone device, and the sense band syncs to the actual application on the actual tablet, as you can see here. The game that you see here that the child is playing on this particular screen is called Coco. It's for a child that has ADHD. What happens is the games record information as it relates to attention, right? That means that the length of attention that a child has while they're playing the game, it would actually record that information. Now, the actual avatar or the character on the game cannot move unless the brain has the right attention and focus. So here's the thing. The brain attention is what we call 13 hertz a second. We measure brain waves based on hertz. So the attention that we're looking for is 13 hertz a second. The character on the actual game would not move if the child brain is not at 13 hertz a second.
That is incredible, Dr. Wallace. The amount of information that you're sharing with us right now is pretty wild, and I'm not sure if everybody's going to be able to capture this, because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm taking notes myself and
Okay.
trying to figure this out, and because it is a novelty, it's brand new. I'm not sure how long it's been in the market, how long has this product has been used. It's probably 5 years, not even.
It's 5 years, but the concept of EEG or electroencephalogram that's used in hospitals have been
It's
around
been a
for 50 or 60 years.
That's right, and I'm well aware of that. Experiencing a father with
Okay.
dementia, and
Okay.
we had to go through those tests, and obviously, they're very simple when it comes to discovering or helping. And again, there is just a way of saying, yes, this is the stage, and definitely there is dementia, Alzheimer. There is nothing we can do about it, and so is it, can we use a neurofit in order to use it as a predicting what would be like in the future? I know right now is to improve improve the health and improve the mental health of
Yes.
many items, but can we use it in a way that it can be preventative?
Um, so at this, so we've done multiple clinical trials. One is on
Right.
school age kids, and one is on seniors. And from a preventative perspective, it can So from a senior, it can it, it's a preventative measure as it relates to cognitive decline. If a senior is using it twice a week for 30 minutes a day, they can
Hmm.
actually reduce their chances of getting uh, uh, early stage dementia, and Alzheimer's, things like that. But it has to be it's for people who have not been diagnosed with dementia, right? The opportunity lies in between the space of that pre-dementia phase where a senior is actually using it 30 minutes a day, twice a week. And if they decide to use it more, that's fine. But based on our testing, based on clinical trials, 30 minutes a day, twice a week is sufficient to help them reduce cognitive decline.
Right, right. And obviously when you're using it for in schools and children's or people that want a higher excellence
Performance.
in their life.
Yeah. So that is the key right there. The key is about performance. When I focus more on sense band technology, it's about performance, right? Performance of school age kids and performance of professionals, right? When they use the sense band technology, their results sinks into a cloud. I have access to the cloud. I can see their results in real time wherever they are across the globe, wherever there's a Wi-Fi frequency that they can attach to, right? So you can be using this technology at home as a school age kid or as a professional, and I'm your NeuroFit coach, and I can see your data in real time. So I can prescribe interventions based on what I'm seeing with your data. As you use the technology, it gives me so let me back step for a second. So the technology, the interventions for memory application are video games. So it's gamified. So you're basically playing video games to increase cognitive performance. And each time you play a video game, it goes from level 1 to level 10. And it gets harder and more difficult as it goes from 1 to 10. Now, once you complete the game, and you're playing the game without a joystick. So you playing the game strictly with brain wave frequencies that's moving the game forward. Now, when the game ends, it gives you a brain score, a behavior score, and a game score. As a NeuroFit technician, I'm looking at not just the game score, I'm keying in on the behavior score and the brain score. So if you're playing a game that's very difficult and you have a low energy of a brain score, because it's measuring the mental load that you're putting in to effectively move through the game, then I will see where the delta is, and I will have that conversation with you as a school age kid or as a professional to figure out why did you expend so little energy versus so much energy in this particular game. And it's telling me a lot of information about your cognitive performance, your neurons, in which I can adjust with a different type of intervention to help you get and peak out to where I need you to be for that performance to be achieved.
One of the things that you mentioned is that people, as a coach yourself, from a neurofit, you will be able to see the waves, see their highs and see their lows, and the capability of them having to improve. And why would they not able to improve? A lot of people probably thinking, isn't it too much for you to be able to actually read my brain, literally? It's your my privacy or my thoughts are being um, hindered, eh, I don't have any privacy. Does it get that way?
No, it doesn't get into that. It's well, let me say this right here. Your brainwave frequencies are your brainwave frequencies, right? It's your brainwaves. Um, and it's not like someone can look at your brainwaves and know that they came from you versus if they came from me. It's not that way. But however, to get live raw EEG data, electrical activity in the brain, we have to be able to see the brain waves. And based on what we're looking at, it helps us to understand what we're actually dealing with, right? So if a person, if I give you an assignment to do something and the assignment is fairly easy, well, I'm looking at three things. I'm looking at attention, relaxation, and mental workload. So if the assignment, if I get the assignment to two different people and one person has high attention and the other person have low attention, versus one person has high relaxation, the other has low relaxation, and the other person has high mental workload and low mental workload, I can basically give a prescription based on what I'm looking at, right? If the person has high attention, that means that that person needs to focus more on this particular activity. Person A versus person B does not have to focus, uh, does not have to have the same intense focus as person A. If they have low relaxation versus high relaxation, the person with low relaxation shows that they're more learned in a subject matter than the other person, or they're more skilled or more familiar with it than the other person. Thus, the other person has low relaxation versus the one person with high. Low relaxation means they're not truly relaxed. There's some anxiety taking place. I'm trying to figure out how to achieve the success in this program, versus the other person who have high relaxation, saying that in that person's mind, what I'm seeing based on their brain frequency is that this is fairly easy. I have the mental capacity or the mental model to achieve this because I'm familiar with it. So these are things that we need to understand as we work with school-age kids and professionals in order to help them be more peak performers.
Now, am I able to get one of the NeuroFits on my own and run the programs and the apps and the games? Would that be beneficial, or is it you would probably the person will not be able to understand or capture the amount of information? It has to be accompanied with a coach. There, that's when you come in, because you're able as a professional and you invested in this for 5 years or so and even longer. You know what to look for, and you know what to suggest and how to guide that person to their next level.
Yeah, I think it's both ends. I think it's simple. It's simple enough for you to purchase a technology either through the website that you're showing now, and that is live raw EEG data right there that you're seeing, or you can purchase it through Amazon.com. That's Neuro Sense Band 2 technology. Neuro NEEEURO Sense Band technology. So yeah, you can purchase yourself. You can download the memory app. You place it gives you the instructions on how to place the sense band on your head and how to sync it to the application. It goes through a quality check. And from there, it shows you how to walk through the game. Now, for anybody who's purchasing it, I will walk them through after they purchase it so they can make sure they're comfortable in using the technology. Now, if you want additional coaching, then I have a curriculum that I use to accelerate performance over a short period of time. To get that accelerated performance, yes, you would need a NeuroFit coach. But can you purchase the technology and administer the technology yourself? Yes, you can. It's that simple.
Yes. Okay. And to get the best out of the performance, obviously, contact Dr. Wallace, because that's how you are going to be able to get the best out of uh, this program, which is incredible. I've never heard of anything like that, and I think it's definitely worth your while. What are the feedbacks? I mean, you've been doing this, you've been working with clients for a little while. What are the feedbacks that you've received from clients or parents that have put their kids through the program, or even seniors, parents, children of seniors that are dealing with cognitive issues?
The feedback is amazing. I recently sold a sense band to a lady who has a daycare for veterans. So we know that veterans suffer through several different things, and she uses it for veterans, but she also uses it for her mother at home. And she talks about how amazing how she basically, you can, once they begin to get in the rhythm, basically after 5 or 6 sessions, the brain began to self-correct itself, right? If you're struggling with so let me back up. So the brain has 5 different frequencies, and you have, the first one is beta, alpha, theta, delta, and gamma. What we try to do for attention, we try to increase people from whose brain frequencies are between 8 to 12. Our goal is to increase their frequencies to up to 13 to 26 or 36. Some of the people talk about when they see the increase in brainwave frequency, they start to see behavior changes in their child, in the seniors. They start to see children that all of a sudden likes to dress, likes to set their clothes out, dress differently, talk differently. They see it translate into the grades in the classroom. They also see it translate into their character and their behavior. So we start to see character changes, dress changes, behavior changes, performance changes based on people going through the actual program using the technology. And that's what most of the clients rave about. They can see it. If it's they may see the behavior change before they see the performance change in the classroom, but they see it in their child, and they see it in the seniors and professionals.
Wow, wow. You talk about numbers here, 13, 26. Are those the numbers that have been set by this program, or this is regular numbers from our intelligence or our capacity of thinking, or how fast do we react on a certain problem?
So these numbers are set by the medical professionals. These are
Gotcha.
scientists and medical professionals, right? So beta is attention, and that's 13 to 36 hertz a second. Then you go drop down to alpha, is more of a daydreaming state between 8 to 13, or 8 to 12, 8 to 13. You drop down to nuts to theta, that's more of a drowsy state, right?
Okay.
Between 4 to 8, and then you have delta. Delta is more of a sleep state. So here's the thing: we all go through these states.
Right.
In reverse, when you wake up in the morning, you start from delta, you work in reverse to theta, right? You go from a deep sleep to a light drowsy state to a more daydreaming state is alpha, to a active state. When the brain becomes active, that's when it's interacting with the world, right?
Right.
When the brain becomes drowsy, it goes down to the theta state. But here's the thing: the opposite, alpha and theta, are areas of creativity. When people leverage their alpha and theta state intentionally, not from any type of cognitive disorder, intentionally, like if you meditate, you're sinking into alpha and theta. In that zone of brainwave, when you're intentionally doing it, it increases your creativity, right? We call it being able to bend reality in those particular zones.
Wow. Well, kind of now you brought me back to kind of like the Matrix. There is no spoon. But is now, you were saying when you wake up, you are on your the most alert, or your delta.
The delta
What
is go ahead.
what about the people that the delta is the sleepy stage?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. So, what about the people that work in the evening? Nurses, doctor, people that work at the airport, traffic control. That they don't have a schedule like most of us do. How is that measured? Does it work the same for them? And obviously, I assume that this could be very, very, very beneficial, because their schedule is all over the place. It's just not, it's all messed up in my looks.
Yeah. So think about this for a second. At one time, I was thinking about creating a technology for truck drivers. So the active state is 13 to 36 hertz a second. Active state, when you're wide awoke and you're focused and you're actively engaged in what you're doing. When the brain waves begin to dip from 13 down to 8 down to 4, you start to get into a more drowsy or sleepy state. Now, I was considering technology similar to the sense band to say, well, we need something to wake when their brain begin to drift down. What kind of signals can we send to bring them and perk them back up? Right, working as a air traffic controller, we need them to be up. Flying a plane, we need them to be up. Traffic driving a commercial bus, we need them to be wide awake. Right.
Right.
So
A doctor doing a surgery at 3 o'clock in the morning, we need to.
We can do the same technology. We can do research studies. We can study 10 physicians at a certain hour. We can study 10 truck drivers doing a certain part of the day.
Right.
We can study air traffic controller, and we can see the average frequencies between certain time, and we can help change policy within those organizations to ensure that they have the right time to sleep, to nap, and to be able to actively engage in their work. We can do that through the research using the same technology.
That is incredible. That is incredible. That is awesome. You were talking about behaviors before the child. Going back to what you mentioned, because I took some note before the child even shows any improvement. The behavior, especially for children that are having problems, and I have an experience with that. You were saying that only 5 to 6 sessions. That is very, very low, because knowing again family members with higher doses of medication, it month went by until you started seeing, or the child showing any kind of improvement. And with this method, only 5 to 6 sessions, and behavior is one of the first things that appear to change.
Yeah, so let me explain the science to this thing. So it's something called operant conditioning, OPRANT conditioning. So what we learn through neuroscience is that it's about rewarding behaviors, right? So when the video games are designed to reward good things that's happening in the game, right? So for instance, we have a game called Minecopter where the person takes a helicopter and lifts it off a helipad and flies the helicopter and starts to give out rescue things to people that's in the game. So what happens is once the brain reaches 13 hertz a second, the helicopter lifts off the helipad. But when the brain begins to drop from 13 down to 12, the helicopter either come down or it crashes. After 2 sessions, the brain begins to self-correct itself. The brain begins to wonder, well, how did I keep it up the first time and I kept crashing? What was that? So the second time you play, you tend to sustain the helicopter in the air longer. The third and fourth time, you sustain the helicopter in the air longer. What happened is, based on sustaining it in the air, the brain started receiving dopamine, right? That it starts to receive that dopamine neurotransmitters in the brain, and it's rewarding you for sustaining something and accomplishing something. Because in the video game, you either win or you don't win, right? You either sustain or you crash. The goal is for you to keep the helicopter in the air. And as long as you're keeping the air, the brain consistently gets a reward called dopamine. So the concept of operant conditioning is rewarding the brain through dopamine as we keep the helicopter in the air, and not rewarding the brain when it crashes. So the brain and the person, the child, seeks that dopamine. Thus, they tend to keep the helicopter in the air.
I find this incredibly fascinating, and you probably more than all people. Um, every time you come across to any studies, or obviously you get really excited with improvements, and
Yeah.
obviously feedback is very, very important to you, because testimonials and people that have ultra pass their stages. Um, is it ever going to stop? We are ever going to stop learning? Obviously, the answer is no. It's when it comes to the brain, the sky is the limit. And I think a lot of more things that are supposed to be discovered. What do you foresee this technology, this course going in the next couple of years?
So my thing is, artificial intelligence is embedded in the program, right? So it's looking at data across all the people that's using the technology, and it's giving us information that we can use for research, to write to publish more papers, academic papers based on what we're finding. But I want to be able to use sense-band technology and things like that to open your car door, open your home, your set your alarm in your house, to be able to fly drones, right? Just from mental capability. There's a study, and there are some people at MIT who right now are using a similar technology. They're testing it in the classroom, where kids are able to, well, students in the classroom are able to fly drones based on brainwave frequency, brainwave activity. It's we can go. It's so expansive on what we can do based on understanding the actual brain waves and the frequencies that comes from the brain waves, right? We will be to the point where we're able to actually drive a car using our brainwave frequencies. There's so much out there, but we're just scratching the surface. So as we continue to learn and collect data, we will use data to constantly find ways to create a better human experience for all mankind.
It brings me back to so many movies, futuristic movies that you watch way back then and even now. The brain is amazing. And obviously, like you just mentioned, we just scratched the surface. Scary, but exciting at the same time.
Okay.
You get me, right?
Yes.
You had a little snarkle, a laugh a little there, but
Yeah.
it is because we don't know what we're capable. You see, like I said, many movies out there where machines and brains of machines are taking over. Um, could that happen? I don't know, but definitely, the brain is so powerful, it's so magnificent, and we could do. We don't know what we are capable of doing. I mean, I don't think you even know.
No, but here's the thing. This is what I do know about the brain. So a person with ADHD, brain frequencies on average is between 8 and 12 hertz a second. So in that space, daydreaming happens a lot, meaning attention is not really there, more daydreaming and creativity. In the classroom, we want the child to be more attentive. In order to take instruction from a teacher and a professor, you have to be attentive, right? So if a child brain is vibrating, its frequency is between 8 to 12 hertz a second, that means that they're not totally there in collecting all the information they need to actually do a classroom assignment or a homework assignment. What we do with sense band technology is to help the child to achieve 13 hertz a second, right? Take the child and get the child brain frequencies going from 8 to 13 or to 36 hertz a second in order for them to achieve the attention they need to, in order to effectively do the work and perform at the right level in the classroom. But after 4 or 5 sessions, what happens is the child begins to learn how to self-regulate their brain frequencies without using the technology. So that means that in the same application in the classroom, the child now, when they feel themselves going into a daydreaming state, they know how to self-regulate their brain to get them back to a more attentive state.
So it's not the dependency on the app or on the game constantly. It's just to teach you how to. Now you were talking about daydreaming. Is that a negative thing or a positive thing? Because is that when you're saying that's when the brain is not too productive? Don't we have to have time downtime? I call it.
To daydream, yes. Daydreaming is critical for all mankind, all
Okay.
humankind. So, but here's the thing now, when the brain is in a perpetual state of daydreaming, then it's hard to be productive. Does that make sense? If when the brain is in a perpetual state of daydreaming, then how can we have the right attention to begin to learn technical things in the classroom? We have to be able to learn these technical things in the classroom in order to perform at the right level in class and in society. So no, nothing is wrong with daydreaming, especially when you just find yourself drifting into a daydreaming state. But when your brain is wired to just be at a daydreaming frequency, then we have a challenge.
Right. Okay. So how about a very famous autistic, and her name, Temple Grandin, which is a savant in the sense that she doesn't have the capability of socializing, but she's able to come up with incredible idea. You probably heard of her, obviously. You would say that she is on a constant daydreaming, but her potential and her performance is at the highest because she's not able to waste time. I don't know if I'm using the right word, and using her skills, social skills, because she doesn't have any. That's part of it. How would that benefit or somebody, parents that have autistic kids?
So here's the thing. We measure performance based on technical skills, not truly creative skills. And most of us, we tend to shun more creativity, which we shouldn't, because creativity is why we have the iPhone. Creativity is why we have Tesla. Creativity is why we have the sense band. All these things are based on the creative sense, being able to go into a daydreaming state and create. But technical skills are necessary to compete in society, American, all across in other countries. Now, when a person is very creative, if they're in that creative space and we understand where they are, then let them create, right? If it's all about creativity, a person like her or a person who's in that daydreaming state have the power to consistently create at a accelerated and a scalable level, right? But a creative person needs to be paired with a technical person to monetize what that creativity looks like in the actual real world.
I understand. I mean, there's so much we can learn, and this is a conversation with Dr. Wallace, time 2. I don't know if we should have a time 3, part 3 rather, because as we converse and as we follow it, then more questions and more deeper the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah.
Again, how would people benefit? Well, we talked about that, but to get in contact with you in order to participate in this coaching and experience, or even think about doing programs with you, especially with the NeuroFit?
So you can go to the website, info at neurogladiators with an s.com, or just go to the website neurogladiators.com, or you can reach out to me at 501-551-9170 for a conversation about this conversation that we have now, to learn more, to get more detail on how you can get engaged in the coaching, or bring your child or your parents into a coaching situation. Just reach out and I could provide you with the right information to get you started.
Beautiful, beautiful. So again, the website is just down here, everyone, and I have shared quite a bit of videos and the information how to get involved. If you are on the fence, please don't. Just connect with Dr. Wallace. As you can see, he's very friendly, is able to reiterate things in a different way for you to be able to understand. We're talking about, being productive and being at your best right now. And I think we all need that. Absolutely. And that's really the main message. If you haven't heard anything today, don't worry. This is recorded throughout my social media and also on YouTube, for you to be able to watch it again or listen again if you're walking around and thinking, maybe I should take a little deeper look into this. Any last word, Dr. Wallace?
The thing about performance is, I get questions all the time about is the technology projecting something towards my brain? No, it's just recording brain frequency, and it's using brain frequency in an application so you can see what's your own brain frequency and how to actually calibrate your brain frequency for peak performance. But the thing is, we're living in technology. We live in society today where we are more remote workers than actually in person. And because of that, there's a lot of anxieties and stress that's taking place. Neuro gladiators, as well as using the sense band technology and applications, can actually help to mitigate that anxiety, mitigate those workplace stresses, and increase your peak performance. One thing that most leaders want to access more is flow. And flow is that extreme attention where time actually dissipate. I can help you to get to that level and maximize performance in the workplace. So go out to Neuro Gladiators and reach out to me, and let's get started in our conversation.
And like you said, let's get started. Thank you so much again for being here with us and sharing so much information. But again, don't worry, it's recorded for you to be able to redo a little, do a summary. But thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you again. Always a blessing.
Okay. Bye-bye for now.
Right. Bye-bye.
And there you have it, everyone. An incredible conversation. We will be back with another guest, another show. I am your host and one of the producers of the Lizy Show. Don't forget to follow on all our social media and obviously subscribe on our YouTube channel. Bye-bye for now, everyone.